All right, welcome everybody. Let me see what's going on here. Another little. There we go. Whole bunch of tech issues today, but we are still going live and rocking and rolling because we have a phenomenal guest. I'm just going to get to the guest. No time for the intros. So appreciative of everyone who stood by and are still going to watch. Please, please. Hopefully you're catching this. But let me just bring on this amazing five-time LinkedIn learning instructor, personal brand guru. She is a global speaker. I'm waiting for the book to come out because I know she has that wealth of information to share with us. But she has, again, here are some of just a few of the LinkedIn learning courses: personal branding, brand strategy, how to work smarter, not harder, and then marketing to millennials. Let me welcome the amazing Chelsea Cross. How are you?
Hello, I'm glad we made it.
I know. So appreciative of you hanging in there for the episode. So, tons of tech issues on Restream. Restream, you're going to owe me. So we flipped over to StreamYard thanks to Chelsea's suggestion. So appreciative. Let me just confirm. Yep, we are live. So I appreciate it, folks. Thank you for hanging in there. Chelsea,
Yes.
tell folks more about your amazing business, who you are, and your expertise.
Well, it's so nice to be here. Tech, you couldn't hold us down tonight. Yeah, and for everyone who doesn't know me, my name is Chelsea Cross, and I've actually been around for about 15 years now. And it all started with a local AM radio show in 2008 in Delray Beach, Florida. I know you're in Tampa, Orlando.
Mhm.
And the show, I was 16 years old, and my concept was called Teen Talk Live. Long story short, it got picked up by Clear Channel Studios, and it was the catalyst to a career that I could have never have imagined. By the time by 2009, I was doing my first mission trip to Africa on behalf of feminine hygiene care,
Oh,
and
wow.
we had Kotex and Delta as sponsors. We created a 4-part docu-series. It was absolutely life-changing in so many ways. When that docu-series aired on CBS and Fox, Kotex then asked me to be their millennial spokesperson. And
Wow.
that was just the next level launch to my, business. I went from hosting and producing to actually working as a consultant and strategist. And that's where the whole millennial influencer, right, term came into the picture. And this was really the infancy of influencer marketing in 2009. So I say working with Kotex, it was a 1-year agreement that turned into 5 years working together. And I
Wow.
call that my master's in influencer marketing because it was just the foundation of this revolutionary, trend that was going to change marketing forever. And then came content marketing and social media marketing, and then came personal branding. So it has been such a journey. So I work with large companies, in the Intel, IBM, Cotexes of the world, but my passion is really working with the entrepreneur one-on-one to help them build their personal brand identity, build their story, their voice, their signature
Mhm.
service offering, their content strategy, social strategy, because I'm all about helping the individual create sustainable, scalable success. So
Now,
that's
did you?
the
Awesome, awesome. Did you know what it was in the time you were going through that with Kotex and everything? Did you know it was influencer marketing and
no.
all that stuff?
Absolutely not. So my story is literally like a passion project that turned profitable, if you will. And I really
Hmm.
do believe that, the best businesses and stories start with passion, right? You're not just thinking the bottom line right away. You're really thinking about what's the mission. And my mission for Teen Talk Live was to create a platform for my peers that just didn't exist at the time. I mean, this was
Mm.
2007, right, when I'm creating the concept of Teen Talk Live. This was MTV and Disney Channel and Hannah Montana was what you got as a teenager. There was no such thing as digital content or social media where you were able to connect with peers outside of your school, right? So it was really just a passion project. I was craving more. I was always a little kid at the adults table wanting to learn. So I
Mm.
think a lot of that was infused into Teen Talk Live and many of the content formats that I've created over the past 15 years. But no, when I was in 2009, when we were doing You by Kotex was the brand that I was the spokesperson for. We were just catching the trend and trying to figure out who are millennials, what do they think, how do they think, what is their consumer behavior, and
Mm.
how do we speak to them. And I knew it had to be through video, through digital content, through social media, and we had to get other peers in that content. And that was all just kind of the elements of influencer marketing and social media marketing and content marketing. To me, content marketing and social media marketing are like peanut butter and jelly. You
Yeah.
can't have one or the other together, right? So you can't have social media success without an awesome content strategy. So all of it was part of the equation, and I had hands in every basket. And that's how I grew. That's how Kotex grew, and that's how I help now clients grow. So it's been really fun.
So at what point in your career did you start to pivot where you recognize personal branding was the way to go?
I love this question, Orlando, because it actually starts with an epic failure. And
Mm.
we tend to avoid failure like the plague, right? And let me tell you, failure is just the biggest learning lesson that we can get in life. And if we stop looking at it from a place of fear and looking from a place of learning,
Mm.
we can flip that perspective. And I think many of us would just take that deep dive quicker. So we have to stop looking at it as like this failure and more of this major opportunity to learn, reboot, and then thrive. So in 2016, I'll make this a long story short. I had a co-owned production company in
Hmm.
California. We were 3 years in, and it was an influencer marketing, digital marketing production company. So we were taking awesome influencers on Vine at the time, and Pinterest, and Facebook, and Instagram, and pairing them with brands like Coca-Cola, Subaru, Dunkin' Donuts, and creating social-minded micro content to cater to the millennial consumer. And we were doing awesome things. But to put it nicely, me and my partner were just not the right fit. And it really is a testament to, be very wise of who you partner with. And we were not the right fit. There was a lot of shady things going on behind the scenes. My grandfather unfortunately passed away,
Mm.
and I was in Florida because I was living in California at the time. I was in Florida at the funeral, and I just started getting all these little hits from interns and employees of all these things that were happening whenever I wasn't in the office. And that was like lots of
Oh.
red flags going on. Got back to California, mind you, grieving, and everything just fell from the bottom of this, and I lost six figures of my own money. I lost multi six figures of friends, family, and investor money. I mean, I
Wow.
had really bottomed out. This was the lowest low of my life, let alone career, because I had this loss that I was grieving, and then I had this business loss that I was grieving. So every part of me was rocked. And I really went into this dark time, Orlando. I went into this very dark place. I didn't know how I was going to get out of it. I didn't know where I was going to go next. And I think I didn't open my computer for at least a solid month because I was just in hibernation.
Mm.
And when I mustered up the courage to then open up the computer next, I opened up my Gmail and I saw a flood of emails and I saw all these inquiries, speaking engagements, brand deals, Twitter chat inquiries. And it was this huge aha moment. While I was doing the production company, which was called Impulse, I was always building Chelsea Cross personal brand.
Mm.
So I kind of was building up two brands, if you will. I was always powering Chelsea Cross social channels and Impulse social channels. I was doing Chelsea created content, Impulse created content. So I was always building my personal brand, even though the term personal brand really wasn't a mainstream term. It was just what felt right for me to do at the time. I was hosting a radio show, I was hosting a Twitter chat, and I was very active on social with content creation. So I had been building community, building brand awareness, building
Mm-hmm.
engagement, building analytics. So my personal brand was full steam ahead, even though I had this crash and burn moment.
Mm.
And that's when this huge aha moment hit me of the power of personal branding. So within my personal brand, Impulse was just a basket, if you will, right? Because as entrepreneurs, we can have different revenue streams, different service offerings. Impulse was just one service offering under my Chelsea umbrella, and that revenue stream went away, but all of the other ones kept on going. And I said, that is why every entrepreneur and also employee, which I definitely want to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
power their personal brand, because something could fall out, but if their personal brand presence is still intact and their social is still live and their content is still rolling, then people might not even realize that you're having an epic failure moment. And nobody realized that from me until I started to share it, other than friends and family. So that was when I started, really crafting, okay, what is the framework behind personal brand development? And I
Mm-hmm.
really just reverse engineered everything that I had been doing already for the past 10 years. But I started to put curriculum or framework to it, an agenda that made sense to everybody else so that I could help people walk through it themselves. But it was this epic failure that made me realize the power of my personal brand and what the power of a personal brand can do for everybody else. So for an employee, for example, if you've been building your online presence, if you've been building your community, if you've been building your thought leadership, let's say you lose your job. Well, guess what? Your personal brand is still so intact that it makes you so much more of a viable candidate when submitting for the next job. It separates you and differentiates you from the competition. So just as, and that's the big myth that I want to debunk right at the right? That only the business owner needs to worry about personal branding. Only the
Correct.
exec, right? No, it's also the employee too. And the power of personal branding for employees is only catching more and more momentum as well.
Mm-hmm. So what I love about your story is that it was the fact that you continued to push through your personal and business, mishap there that evolved into you start to understand you were still gaining traction. And like you said, people had no clue what was going on.
No clue. And you know what was waiting in my inbox when I flipped my computer back open? A
Opportunity.
speaking inquiry from Grant Cardone to speak at the
Wow.
very first 10X Growth Con on marketing to millennials. And
Nice.
that's when I was like, I am in this huge failure moment, yet because of my personal brand presence and because of the effort that I had been putting in all my Chelsea channels, all
Hmm.
of my content creation, my thought leadership development, no one cared that this business failed because of
Hmm.
everything else that I was also doing. And it was also a story that I got to share on the 10X stage. And one of the biggest things that people came up to me after that speaking engagement was thanking me for being vulnerable and
Mm.
sharing my failure, because it made everybody else go, okay, if she had a failure, it's okay that I did too, or it's okay if I do too. And it also humanizes all of us. None of us are perfect.
Right.
None of us have the secret sauce or the secret equation that works every time, all the time, right? I even had a post today, the biggest thing that you should be afraid of is not starting at all
Mm.
versus failing.
Right. So great segue because you said the vulnerability piece. So as we talking about personal branding and certain platforms allow for more folks to be personable, what's your thoughts on being vulnerable on the LinkedIn platform, which is, so-called strictly business, but what's your strategy or thought process on that? And can we be more vulnerable? Should we be more vulnerable to boost our brand? Or is it a strategy to it?
LinkedIn has really grown in the
Hmm.
past several years. So my personal branding course on LinkedIn launched in 2018. In 2020 and in 2021, it became a global top performing course. So it took about 3 years for everybody to catch up to the topic of personal branding.
Mm.
And that's because so much happened in the past 3 years, let alone, since 2018. But yes. So LinkedIn had this stereotype of being the suited up, suit and tie. You got to be really professional on LinkedIn. And yes, it does have more of that professional minded behavior and
Hmm.
consumer and engagement. However, over the past few years, especially since COVID, we are seeing more storytelling, more personal elements sprinkled into our professional selves, and more vulnerability shared, whether it's good times, bad times, highs, lows, failures, successes, even infusion of family and what you're doing on
Hmm.
your downtime. And I think this is a testament to what we're also craving as a society today. We are craving human connection. We are craving story. We are craving things that are moving us beyond the needle, other than just ROI,
Right.
and we're create ultimately connection and vulnerability. Being vulnerable, even though it's scary, it's also so cathartic once you hit post. And once you are comfortable in being vulnerable, you will start to see the uptick of those gravitating towards your channel who are like-minded and also in need of that human that
Hmm.
humanization behind the brand,
Yep.
behind the persona. I had a moment in 2021 after my son was born where I hit a wall, and it was kind of my second biggest stuck moment since that 2016 failure. I hit a wall. I was feeling a big lack of passion. I was feeling lack of enthusiasm. I was feeling like, what is going to make me excited to get to my computer? And I realized that I needed to be a student again. I'm always the
Mm.
teacher. I'm always the creator. I'm always the producer. I've been doing it since I was 16 years old. And I needed to refill my cup so that I could refill everybody else's cup. And for the past year, Orlando, I have been in studies. I took my certification for neurolinguistics programming, which is all about the language of our brain and our mind
Hmm.
and how we think and operate. And then I went into clinical hypnosis and spiritual hypnosis.
Wow.
And people either get it or don't get it right away. Of like, wait, how does that have to do with anything that you're doing when personal branding and marketing? Well, with my coaching clients, I was seeing a huge pattern. And the pattern was that everybody was getting in their own way. It was constant self sabotage, self doubt, inner critic, fear of
Hmm.
failure that was stopping them from moving forward. And or we would create something amazing, we would create the service offer, create the content strategy, and then fear would creep in, doubt would creep in, and they would stop and they would self-sabotage. So we had to do a lot of mindset work. And I started looking for tools that could really help, you know, delete these obstacles. And I kept getting pulled to hypnosis, and it is just a
Mm.
transformative mindset tool to really help overcome obstacles in success, in life and in business. And I really focus on hypnosis for success with entrepreneurs. And then with spiritual hypnosis, people who are looking for that creative boost, that source of enlightenment to spark that creativity. And it is unbelievable what happens in these sessions with these entrepreneurs that they said, I would have never have gone here. I would have never have thought that. I would never have connected that dot, thanks to hypnosis being that tool to really help them have that breakthrough. So
Wow.
I'm so excited to really move into this year, Orlando, with infusing hypnosis into a lot of my coaching one-on-one and a group coaching program that is about to be launched in the next month or so, because this is a time for transformation, right? We
Hmm. Hmm.
went through COVID. We just went through the hardest time in all of our life. And it's time to break down those walls or any of those obstacles stunting our success or our joy or our creativity or our creative expression. And that is my mission this year.
Love it. Love it. What are some of those blocks that your clients are sharing? Is there a consistency with that you can say,
Yes.
"Yep, here's one we could pinpoint because I know it's going to come up."
Yes. So some of the consistent blocks are limiting beliefs. What
Hmm.
does limiting beliefs really mean? Oh, well, because everybody else is already doing that, I can't do it. Or because I don't have a podcast 10 years ago, then it's not going to be a success now. Or because I don't have 5,000 followers, I'm never going to sell this coaching package. Right? Limiting beliefs, beliefs that keep us small, beliefs that keep us stuck, beliefs that keep us in doubt. Um, fear of putting themselves out there, fear
Hmm.
of being vulnerable, fear of rejection, fear of failure, so much perfectionism. Oh my God, we're all so hard on ourselves. We're all just trying to be perfect all the time. And guess what, guys? There is no such thing as perfection, right? Perfect is your self created definition. Everybody's definition of perfect is different. And I actually don't even like the word perfect because I believe that, there is no such thing as perfect.
Right.
And comparisonitis, right? Comparing ourselves to everybody else, that keeps us stuck or going to those negative beliefs or limiting beliefs. So, and then a lot of confusion, right? I just don't know where to go next. I just don't know what to do, how to do it. What do I need to do it? Where to
Hmm.
be? Confusion. And then confusion leads to overwhelm, right? Like when you're
Yep.
confused about something, you can't figure it out. You just, you get into overwhelm. And then when you hit overwhelm for too long, you just hit burnout. So it's kind of this like ripple effect that a lot of my clients were coming to me in and also expressing throughout her. And all of it is mindset. All of it can be addressed with the right tools. And all of us deserve to have those tools to better our personal and professional lives. So that's why not only to actually apply hypnosis with my clients, but to then also teach them the tool of self hypnosis after working
Mm.
together.
Never heard that before. Okay.
Yes, yes,
So I,
and, obviously, we're talking career talks, right? We're all coming
yep.
from a professional lens, but think about this, guys.
Hmm.
If you are not good, right? If you are not 100, are you giving 100 to your business? Are
Mm.
you giving 100 to your job? Are you giving 100 to your family? So let's work on you so that you can also up level your business. So
Love
that's
that.
where I really want to work on the personal and professional self for transformative growth.
I love that because a lot of stuff you were saying was in my brain or is. You go through like I'm doing this podcast, I'm meeting all these great folks, and I want to expand it different ways. And I'm like, and then I get overwhelmed. I'm like, let me just continue on this path when I know I got so many creative ideas
Right?
that I want to channel. So it looks like I'm gonna need a coaching. so
You know
here,
where to find me, Orlando. You know where to find me.
so when it comes to what would you give as a 3-step, 4-step process to folks to start developing their brand or expanding their brand
Yes.
going forward?
Okay. So I have 6 steps.
Awesome.
And this is for, and I will speak to the entrepreneur, the business owner,
Hmm.
thought leader, and also the employee, because there's only like one little differentiation between entrepreneur and employee. So here are the 6 steps, everyone. Number 1, solidify your personal brand foundation. What is a personal brand foundation? This is, what are you passionate about? What is your purpose? What is your expertise, right? What is that niche, your expertise? What's your experience? What are your strengths? What is your core message? What is your voice? Okay, so this is like all the things that we need to have, clear before we start rocking and rolling, creating content and putting it out there. Well, it's like the who, what, where, when, why is your foundation, right? Once you kind of understand, all right, here's my niche expertise, here's how I want to present myself as my voice, here's my core values, this is my, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, very good to know both. Then you could start to package your personal brand identity. Identity, meaning the visual aesthetic to your brand, your logo, your color palette, your typography, your font, your banner, right? Your monogram, your stamp, right? So when people think of you, they also think of these visuals, right? A lot of people now think of my C with a butterfly, the butterfly symbolizing transformation, right? However you want to establish your brand identity. So that's all one. Personal brand foundation, brand identity, okay? This is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And if you don't create it, everybody else will. That's the importance of your personal brand foundation and your identity. Step number 2 is identifying your target audience. Who are they? Where are they online? What do they value? What are their needs? What are their pain points, right? Who are you speaking to? Step number 3 is your brand story. Share who you are and establish credibility, how your experience and expertise makes you the person to get it done. For example, I shared a lot of my personal brand story early on in our conversation. I talked to you about the failure moment. I talked to you about how that failure gave me that big aha, how that big aha put me on the trajectory that I am now. Then I shared another conflict moment right after my son was born. I had this lack of motivation, and how that moment created an aha and put me on the path to where I am now in my last year of studies. So breaking that down again, because I like to give the framework of thinking of the 3 C's when it comes to your personal brand story. Character, which is easy. Character's you, right? Your personal brand. Conflict. Conflict is a conflict moment in your life career that's relevant to where you are today and what you do today to help others. Like how I had this aha moment after that huge business failure in 2016, that my personal brand was the single most effective marketing tool for myself. And that it was the most absolute most powerful asset that I had in my business. So that crash and burn moment actually identified the most important thing that I had working for me. And then that said, okay, I want to help entrepreneurs create a personal brand like mine. I want everybody to have such a significant personal brand that they can monetize it and that they can also scale it, right? Because having a personal brand means that you can also have multiple service offerings, right? You can have a podcast and monetize it. You can have a blog and monetize it. You can have a newsletter and monetize it. You can have a workshop and monetize it. You can have a coaching package and monetize it. You can have a group and monetize it. There are so many buckets, that I like to call them, that you can start to create and monetize when you have a powerful personal brand. So, sorry, I'm segueing. I get very excited.
And I'm jotting down notes. I love it.
So personal brand story, think of your 3 C's: character, conflict, conclusion, right? So the conclusion is, how did that conflict moment give you that aha that led you on the path you are today? Which is, how did you create that solution that you're offering to your clients, right?
Got it.
Okay, step 4. Okay, for the employee, this is all about creating internal equity. How are you creating internal equity within the corporation? That is such an essential part of personal branding for employees. So that means up-leveling your skill set, right? Training, certifications, online courses, CEUs. You always want to be a competitor, right, within the corporation. Position yourself as an indispensable asset. Focus on nurturing and building relationships within your team and beyond your team. And always be engaging in meetings, sharing insights, asking questions. This is how you build internal equity, so that you, 1, get more opportunity, 2, rise within the company, and 3, get more pay.
Let me jump in real quick, because you said something very interesting for number 4. You said be a competitor in the business.
Yes.
Can you unpack that one a little bit more?
You want to be a competitive asset within the corporation, right? So if you're an employee, you know that there are people who are vying for your job or vying for that next position, right? So building internal equity helps you to only next level up within the
Mhm.
corporation. It gives you that competitive advantage to make you an indispensable asset. You want to position yourself as an indispensable asset so that the corporation's like, we can't get rid of Chelsea. She's too important.
Mhm.
She has a community on LinkedIn. She builds all this brand awareness through her content that she creates. She's up leveling her skill set. She just got that CEU. She just got that certification. She's bringing more to the team. That is building your internal equity. That is how you position yourself as a power player within the corporation. And all of that builds your personal brand as an employee.
Love it.
Now, if you're not an employee, step 4 would be to create your signature service offering, right? So if we are our own business, right, whether you're a coach, consultant, nutritionist, lawyer, you have to have that signature service offering, right? Why are people coming to you to pay you for a service? And you want to make that signature service offering something that's unique to you, that it doesn't sound like everybody else out there, that makes you have this unique identity that people want to work with you, not the competition, right? So, for an example, I just gave myself another unique service offering in hypnosis, in career coaching,
Mhm.
mindset coaching, personal brand development, right? So now I have this unique identifier of someone who uses hypnosis as a tool to help my clients break through obstacles, to enhance creativity, and to help them uncover blocks that are halting their success, right? Not every coach out there has that unique tool. That's what I mean about getting really nichey in your unique identifiers and where you can turn to certification programs or trainings to give you that unique approach.
As you said that, I'm thinking, can an employee create a signature skill set offering to the company? Like you
Yes.
like you're in HR or in sales, but you have a strong infinity passion for marketing. You just chose not to take it as a profession. Like, hey, I got all these creative ideas on how to employer brand. Like, can an employee create that same signature kind of skill set for internal equity?
100%. And
Love it.
that is and that piece of the pie, Orlando, means that the employee has to really have an understanding of what's lacking, right, in their
Hmm.
business or their team. Where is there a hole that they could potentially fill the hole, right? They
Yeah.
could be the solution to the pain point, be the solution to the need. And that's where everyone should be coming from when it comes to the signature service offering. Where's the void? How can I be the solution? And how can I be the solution in a unique way that brings my expertise to the forefront and
Love
that
it.
really creates solutions for whoever the target audience is, right? So for the employee, I actually have an example. I was working with a gentleman who wanted to build his personal brand and thought leadership because he wanted to rise within the company. And he started to do such a great job on social media and with his content creation that we had created a great content strategy for him that he actually packaged a live stream concept to his company to go live every week, and they greenlit it. So he started producing and hosting the live for his business, and it totally took off and helped build his personal brand and helped build the community and social engagement of the company. And he absolutely then got promoted within the company because he became more of an indispensable asset, bringing solutions to the table.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Number five. Number five. We're on five, right?
And 5, yes, I'm starting to read some of the comments. 5 is establishing your thought leadership, right? You can't have a powerful personal brand if you don't have thought leadership status. So, how do we go about building thought leadership?
Hmm.
Publishing keyword rich articles, right? That are relevant to your industry, that are relevant to your expertise. Keywords can be always researched within your industry with Google. Like, what are the keywords for finance? What are the keywords for marketing? What are the keywords for sales? Where do you post these articles? Well, if you don't have a personal blog, then you can use LinkedIn, the article section. is fabulous second best option to having a personal blog. Use LinkedIn articles. Aside from keyword-rich articles, you can host topical live streams or a webinar. This is really helping to package your expertise. Those live streams or webinars, I would call long-form content, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to be 20, 30 plus minutes. Then you can use that long-form content and repurpose it into short-form content and share it across your channels. You could collaborate with industry experts and influencers in roundups and white paper reports and polls, in fellow podcasts, right? I'm sharing my thought leadership here on Career Talks with Orlando to Orlando's community. So I'm building thought leadership and expanding my community right now. So these are all great ways to further establish thought leadership that you can do as an employee and as a business owner. Absolutely. And then last but not least, for both employee and entrepreneur, of course, is social media and community growth, right? The power of personal brand is nothing without social media, right? Because that is the platform where everybody can come get to know you, learn from you, want to connect with you, want to work with you. So be consistent in your branding across your social media channels and your messaging across social media. Post and engage daily. Use hashtags wisely. Provide value in your content. Provide story in your content relevant to your target audience. Track your progress, refine, and repeat. And those 6 steps, personal brand foundation / your visual identity, 2, identifying your target audience, 3, crafting your personal brand story, 4, for the employee, creating internal equity within the business. That would be for the employee, or creating your signature service offering as the entrepreneur. 5, establishing thought leadership. 6, kill it with your content marketing and social media strategy. Those are the 6 layers or 6 steps that are necessary in any way you slice it to have a powerful personal brand. Secondly, a monetizable personal brand.
Love it. So there's 2 questions I have. One, I'm gonna jump back to number 1. Do you think brand foundation, identifying, your brand, is one of the tougher out of the 6?
Yes.
Like that's where the analysis paralysis kicks in. I would think people freeze, like, what is it? What do I want to say? What's my voice?
You nailed it. Analysis paralysis, because most of the time we're overthinking everything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right? And I would say, that is the ultimate place where people come to me as a coach, as a coaching client. Help. I have no idea how do I even create this foundation.
Yeah.
So that's session 1, personal brand foundation, right? Because to me, that's if you think about it like this, it's like where you strip yourself apart to build it back together, where it has a cohesive, unified message. And I like to use this analogy, Orlando. When you're building a house, what's the first thing you have to do? You have to lay a solid slab of foundation, right? Without a solid, dry, level, slab of foundation, you can't build a house. The more solid your foundation is, the bigger the mega mansion you can build. When I started building my personal brand with a local AM radio show, that was a nice little tiny house, right? Then I layered into consulting, one-on-one coaching, brand ambassador deals, Twitter chats, LinkedIn courses, now a group program, a hypnosis service offering, right? So my tiny house has grown and grown and grown and grown into a multi-6-figure business. And this is the power of personal branding. The more you are clear in who you are, what you do, how you do it, who you do it for, the more monetizable your personal brand can become. Now, not everyone's trying to monetize their personal brand, right? Because if you're an employee, you're making bank from your employer, your company, but it doesn't mean you can't start to monetize side hustles.
Absolutely.
So the power of personal branding can be transformative, especially when you do it right And you could do it a lot of different ways, and you could do it where you're trying to get overnight success, right? We're always looking for like the quick fix, the society. Personal branding is a marathon, not a sprint. And the more you do it well and the more you give it TLC, it will grow and grow and grow. You just really have to be clear in the who, what, where, when, why, how. And that's why there are coaches out there like myself to help you do it, right? I've been doing this for 15 years. It doesn't mean that you're just supposed to know how to do these things, right? It's like there are definitely a lot of elements to the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have the right puzzle pieces and they come together, magic happens.
And I think that where you said it earlier, a lot of folks get stuck because we just jump into it thinking, oh, well, I have this wealth of experience. I'm just go for it. And you kind of get confused and convoluted as the journey goes. And you're like, this isn't working. And you
Yes.
fail to get clarity first in the
Yep.
beginning. So I love that and set that foundation.
And to that point, Orlando, a lot of people come to me and they're already on step 10. I want to launch a podcast. I'm like, all right, well, let's start at step 1 and make our way to step 10. Okay, so for the person that just wants to have a podcast, I'm like, okay, do you have a website? Do you have social media channels? Do you know what the podcast is about? Do you know who you're speaking to? Do you know how you're going to package that content? And it's just deer in headlights, right? Because they think podcast, money, or podcast money and sponsorships, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I mean by don't be 10 steps ahead. Start at step 1, which is that foundation piece, right? Once you really kind of have the who, what, where, when, why, then you start the visual association, right? Your logo, your color storage, your font. This is how people think about it. If you go to, if you pull up influencers or even companies, and they have this like shoddy brand identity, and then you go to somebody else or another business, and they are well branded. They have a defined logo, mission statement, uh, branded banner, right? Their content is with a logo. You know whose content it is. You're gonna absolutely subconsciously go with the more well-branded person,
Mm-hmm.
because also that solidifies credibility. That solidifies thought leadership. That builds trust. All of those things are also essential for building community, let alone generating leads and generating revenue.
What are your top 3 or 2 go-to content creation formats when it comes to building your brand?
So I think those thought leadership, keyword driven articles are always a no-brainer, because
Mhm.
why, right? Because of the SEO.
Mm.
SEO, right? Because for search engine optimization, we have to cut through a lot of clutter today. There's a lot of competition online. So we have to use what we can to our advantage. And SEO generated articles are going to help us rank faster on Google. Also, publishing those articles on LinkedIn is going to help the Google search engine. So LinkedIn and Google are kind of another peanut butter and jelly or a mac and cheese situation, because they do help feed the search engine. So keyword driven articles are always a great place to start, right? If you type in millennial into Google, most likely my name's gonna pop up. If you type in personal branding, hopefully my name's gonna pop up, right? That's all keywords to help discoverability. We all want to be discoverable, right, in our personal brand. So that's a really great piece of content. Number 2, which I would actually put it like, as effective as keyword driven articles, is video. There are so many amazing stats out there. Type in video marketing statistics 2023 about the power of video today. It is grabbing our short attention spans, and I'm not talking about 60-minute video all the time. I'm talking about, short, punchy, value driven video that's going to
Mhm.
help people and make them want more. So this is a video strategy right now. We're here on a long form piece of content, and Orlando and I already know that we're going to chop up this 60-minute, long form piece of content into bite-sized 60-minute clips that are going to continue to share value across our channels and thought leadership across our channels. So you can have a long form content strategy and a short form content strategy and get creative with repurposing that content. Video on your website, on your social media channels, on your blog, even in your email marketing, all incredibly effective. Then I would say
Mhm.
oh, sorry,
No,
Orlando.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And then I would say, because you're probably thinking, oh, she's going to say like, a short form post or poll or quiz. Here's the third really powerful piece of content, and it is your testimonials.
Mm,
It is that, amazing client feedback. It is those amazing reviews. Those are selling you, your services, and your business just as much as your Facebook ad, if not even more. Honestly, actually, way more. The power of peer approval is so real and so effective. Nine, not I have stats right here. 9 out of 10 consumers worldwide make an effort to consult reviews before discovering a local business. More than half of online shoppers read at least 4 reviews before a purchase. Now, it's not just about what your clients are saying or what your customers are saying, but it's also how the business or the entrepreneur responds to those reviews. 97% of shoppers who read reviews online also read the responses from the business.
mhm.
They want to see your customer support. They want to see how loyal you are to not only the happy customer, but the customer that's not so happy. So the power of the review, the power of peer approval, and the power of how the business even responds to the reviews are in the top 3 most effective pieces of content for your business and brand today.
Wow. What are some don'ts? What are some things we shouldn't be doing that we thought was the path to go? Like, let's stay away from this type of personal brand strategies.
Don't be a billboard. Right? Like how many billboards do you drive by and you don't pay them any attention because
Hmm.
they're static, they're promo-y, they're salesy. Don't be a constant billboard about yourself, right? Like don't only come from a place of trying to sell your service or sell your product. Come from more of a place of value and story and even vulnerability.
Love it.
You don't have to be the I am perfect, look at me, don't you want to be me? No, I want to know how you got to you and how you can help me get to you, right? So that's where that vulnerability is really effective, and also humanizing your business and what you do. It also creates connection. We know that connection is the make or break behind why personal brands evolve or why we hear crickets. If you're not connecting with your like minded audience, then your brand really isn't going to grow. So don't be a billboard. Don't come off too salesy. Don't come off too pushy. It's really important to think about two-way dialogue, right? A lot of us think, okay, what am I posting? When am I posting?
Hmm.
What kind of content am I posting?
Yep.
Well, what about how much time did you spend today, everyone, commenting on other people's posts, sending direct messages, right? Think about it. When you go to lunch with a friend, you're not just sitting there listening to the friend talk at you. You
Right.
also want to talk. It's a two-way conversation. That is so important and effective when it comes to personal brand development and brand reputation for both business and entrepreneur, right? Two-way dialogue. It's not only just about what content you're sharing, but it's also about what you're commenting on other like-minded people, right? So come from a place of two-way dialogue. Don't be a billboard. And the other don't is to don't try to be a jack of all trades.
Hmm.
Don't try to be the expert in all things. Really niche it down, right? What do you do? Who do you do it for? And how do you do it? Don't try to be, oh, I do everything the best for everyone. No, you don't. No, you don't. And also, here's the other thing that's really hard for people. And believe me, it's been really hard for me too, of really getting nichey in who you work with, right?
Yeah.
I work with entrepreneurs. That's really broad. I work with service-based entrepreneurs. I work with female service-based entrepreneurs. I work with working mom service-based entrepreneurs. That's what I mean about really getting clear about who you work with. Here's why. The more you're clear about who you work with, so let's go to the most nichey one. I work with work moms who are female service-based entrepreneurs. Okay. Now think of how niche I can craft my content and my messaging to that individual. If
Yep.
I'm trying to speak to every entrepreneur who does every business at every stage of their business, at every stage of their life, it might get a little broad. It might get a little lost in the clutter. But if I'm speaking directly to the working mom who is a service-based entrepreneur, who is a coach or a consultant, I can get really specific in my messaging
Because you're speaking to you.
because I am speaking to that
Hmm.
single individual. I am
Yeah.
not trying to speak to the masses.
Yeah.
So those are 3 things to really consider in the do's and don'ts. But yeah, don't try to be a jack of all trades. Don't try to speak to everyone. You're going to hear crickets loudly.
I love it. When it comes to, and you shared the kind of your top 3 strategies on, the story, the video content, article. Are we seeing any changes coming that we're not aware of, that you have your ear on the pulse?
Well, I would say that changes are kind of stripping away that element of perfectionism
Okay.
and coming from a place of honesty, transparency, vulnerability, story, excuse me, and using that in a way that speaks to your target audience and your core service offering and core value, right? I think it's less of like, what's the algorithm that's making the Facebook ad
Hmm.
work, and more of, wait, what's the story that's just really connecting with my desired client? And how am I communicating that story, either on video, on podcast, in article, or across social content? So I do think that we're still very much in the story content, content story phase. I don't feel like there's a huge new going into 2023 other than artificial intelligence, right? Becoming that much more sophisticated and savvy to help power our personal brand and content and social. I
Hmm.
have a live stream on February 9th with Ben Parr talking about how to use AI to power our business and our brand. So I think that's probably of the most new, juicy, exciting, tool that we're going to start seeing being used in branding, content, social, business more effectively. And I think that the whole I don't have access to a person is getting really boring. Even though we're talking
Mm.
about AI, right? Like people want to connect with people,
Yeah.
period.
Yep.
So use AI to make your humanization, connectability easier, faster, more seamless. Don't take me to this call, that take me to that call, take me to that chat bot.
Right.
It's all about humanizing our approach. And I think if we can really stem from that core value, who am I? What is my mission? What is my purpose? What is my goal? Who do I really want to work with? And how can I really help that person? All of this is part of the foundation that is going to help shape your personal brand identity, shape your content strategy, shape your social strategy, and connect with like-minded people. And I do think that years ago, you had to be on every channel. You had to be doing everything everywhere. And I think that burnt a lot of us out. And now I will say pick your top 3 channels and make sure LinkedIn is optimized, right? LinkedIn is your living, breathing resume. It's also your website. If you don't have a website, it's the next best thing. So make sure your LinkedIn is optimized. Make sure it's well branded. Make sure your about summary has story in it. Go to my LinkedIn profile and see how I've structured my about summary. It's not just some boring bio with all of my accomplishments. It's going to tell you, it's going to story. It has story in there. That's where people are connecting most. And I do think that if we can really start to come from that mindset, also our content strategy will just start to take shape that much more authentically,
Hmm.
versus it just coming from a sales mindset, and an ROI driven mindset. Come from a place of wanting to connect and nurture relationships and leads and revenue will follow.
Love it. Yeah, the three biggest takeaways from that piece is value, you said, storytelling, and vulnerability when creating content.
Yeah.
And that, I love it.
And pick the
Absolutely.
top 3 channels where your audience is most. Like, look up the demographics for social media. Where is your audience? And be on those 3 primary channels. You do not have to be everywhere doing everything. Know where your audience is most and dominate on those channels.
Love it. Love it. We are coming to the top of the hour. I thank you so much, Chelsea, for hanging in there at the technical issues. We started late, folks, but appreciate you again for tuning in. Any questions you have that you didn't ask during the broadcast, feel free to drop them in the notes. I'll tag Chelsea, or you tag Chelsea. I'm sure she'll respond to those. Before we close out, where can folks find you and consume your information, all your contact information?
Yes, my website is chelseacross.com, and all of my social channels are at Chelsea Cross, making it really easy for you. If you want to pop me a DM or a message that you listen to the Orlando Haynes podcast, and I want to inquire more about coaching or hypnosis or your group coaching, just let me know. I'm kind of building my need to know wait list right now. I have 1 coaching slot left from this quarter, one-on-one, but I am taking on hypnosis clients and building my wait list for my group program. It's so exciting, Orlando, because all of what I've been building for the past 15 years is coming together in this group. It's going to be phase 1. We're going to work on mindset, eliminating those obstacles, really using hypnosis to spark creativity, energy, inspiration, and eliminating fear. And then we're going to move into personal brand development. So, working on you so that you can also work on your business, not only shaping your personal brand, but also building that signature service offering that you can offer to your clients or, target audience, content strategy, social strategy. So really setting not only you up for success, your business up for success. And to me, there is no professional growth without personal development. So this is where I'm bringing mindset and biz dev together in this group. So if anyone's interested, drop me a message because I am starting to build the wait list now, and I'm so excited. It's going to be an incredible journey.
Someone says sign me up. So go ahead, go to chelseacross.com and sign up. Get on that wait list.
Yes.
And I love that you said 15 years for it all to come together. So building a personal brand, a successful personal brand, takes time.
Yes.
Love it.
It
Last
does.
question would be, what motivates you? What's your internal motivator, North Star, that gets you going?
Well, I will say that when I see my clients' aha moments, like when we connect the dot and their eyes just go, and you see the bing,
Hmm.
that lights me up like nobody's business. Like my one-on-one coaching client sessions are 90 minutes, and they're usually go over because we just get so excited about what we're creating that time becomes irrelevant.
Hmm.
So those aha moments that I have with my clients just fuel me, and it just keeps me going and doing more. But as a mother now, my son, I mean, experiencing life through his eyes is just the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced. Drop tears now. I could in a second. And it's a different type of fulfillment knowing
Yeah.
that like I'm gonna be a role model for the next generation, and showing him what a powerful working woman mom looks like. It
Hmm.
really motivates me, really fuels my fire. And let me tell you, the last year of my studies, Orlando, lights me up. I feel so replenished. I feel so full. I feel so motivated. I've never felt like I've had a more powerful mindset thanks to my
Wow.
NLP, neurolinguistics programming, and hypnosis tools. I mean, having these tools in our toolbox is absolutely transformative in every aspect of your life, in the way you are in your relationships, in the way you are with your family, in the way you are with your clients, in the way you are with your children, and most importantly, the way you are with yourself.
Hmm.
Because, excuse me, most of us tend to be our worst enemy, where we all need to be our own best friend. And having these tools have just created this what feels like unstoppable mindset and so much energy and creativity just like flowing out of my pores. That's why I'm so excited about this group, because it's really this hybrid of all that I've done in marketing and branding now with this mindset tool of hypnosis to helping you unlock your really absolute greatest potential. So lots of things are lighting me up these days, but those would be the top ones right now.
Love it. So hashtag personal development unlocks creative opportunities inside you. I love that so much. Chelsea, thank you. I can't thank you enough for your time, your expertise, such crucial pieces. I think what I love is their actionable advice that people can absolutely apply to their career and life. Um, and just for hanging in there. I got to say it again. We had a bad start, but you hung in there. So I so appreciate you. Let me do this. Let me make sure in the show notes, I'm going to grab all your information and I'm going to drop it in there so they can make sure they can connect with you for sure. I super highly urge folks to connect with Chelsea, get her program. Don't be surprised you see me in there to learn more about this transformative, personal branding information. So super excited. Thank you so much. I'm gonna close this out with a quick video and chat with you for 2 seconds in the back. But any last words, any last parting motivational words for the folks?
You know what, if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you are feeling burnt, if you are feeling like you're just looking for the next thing, then that's totally, where I come in. That is totally where I want to help you in this moment where you feel like you're kind of stuck in transition, because you have all the magic within. We just kind of need to strip it down and again put it back together. There is hope. There is so much opportunity out there. And you can either get in your own way or you become your strongest asset. So that is totally my mission for this year, helping everyone really channel their mind as their strongest asset, not their worst enemy. And I think that ultimately, if you talk to any successful person out there, they're going to tell you that their mindset was the make or break of their success. And that's why I'm so excited about this hybrid group coaching program that I'm putting together, is because you got to be 100 for your business to absolutely be explosive, and not just explosive for a short period of time, sustainable, scalable success. So again, if you're interested in connecting, learning more, or just being on like a wait list of any sorts, you can even email me directly, chelseacross@gmail.com. You can contact me on LinkedIn, all my social channels at Chelsea Cross, but just know I'm here for you. And I am so excited at the opportunity to work with you, because watching the transformations happening is just, it's so humbling to be a part of your journey. And I just get to be your guide. So hopefully I get to connect with some of you, and it's still early in the year. So let's make this one a great one.
Love it. Folks, that is it. We'll catch you next time on the Career Talks podcast.
Thank you.